In 2022, energy prices across the European Union soared to historic highs. The disruption was triggered by a rebound in demand following the pandemic, the acceleration of climate change, and most critically, Russia suspending gas supplies to multiple member states. To understand why global energy markets are so vulnerable to these shocks, you have to look at the physical architecture delivering the power. Our traditional electrical grid operates as a top-down, centralized system. Power is generated in massive remote plants and pushed to consumers in a rigid one-way street over aging infrastructure. Because control is concentrated, heavy administrative overhead to maintain, and any single point of failure, whether from a physical breakdown or a targeted cyber attack, can trigger cascading blackouts across entire regions. It also relies on a complex web of intermediaries to broker and verify every watt of energy that flows through the wires. Every time power changes hands on paper, utility companies, brokers, and administrators take a cut, inflating the final price tag on your monthly bill. When you combine high overhead with total centralization, you get a rigid monopoly. It is a structure designed for a highly predictable world, making it incapable of adapting to today's volatile and rapidly changing energy landscape. Millions of homes are now generating their own power. By installing solar arrays, everyday consumers have transformed into what the industry calls prosumers, people who both consume and produce electricity right at the household level. We are seeing a rapid global rollout of these localized solar and wind installations, but there is a massive physical bottleneck. The legacy grid was built to push electricity out from a few central hubs, not pull it in from millions of independent residential rooftops. This creates a severe balancing problem. Solar and wind are entirely weather-dependent, meaning power output fluctuates wildly minute by minute. Pushing these intermittent bursts of energy back into a rigid distribution network creates chaotic spikes and drops that traditional operators struggle to manage. We are decentralizing how we generate power, but the systems that manage it are still locked in an expensive, slow, and top-heavy distribution model. Smart contracts, immutable, self-executing code, replace traditional utility brokers. For peer-to-peer trades, the code verifies the seller's minimum solar output and available surplus on the ledger. Simultaneously, it confirms the buyer's funds. Once verified, energy rights and funds instantly swap, dynamically adjusting the grid. By hard-coding the transaction logic, this peer-to-peer system removes the middleman entirely. Trust in a corporate monopoly is replaced by mathematical certainty, ensuring that both parties get exactly what they agreed to. Scaling these transactions creates an automated peer-to-peer microgrid. Grouping these forms a virtual power plant, aggregating thousands of decentralized assets like solar panels to stabilize the national grid. Simultaneously, the blockchain tracks kilowatt origins, instantly logging carbon data and minting fraud-proof renewable energy certificates. Operating at this scale, blockchain reconfigures electricity distribution entirely. It turns a rigid, one-way pipeline into a transparent, self-balancing ecosystem. The advantages of integrating blockchain into the energy sector are clearly documented. It lowers administrative costs, maintains a transparent record of transactions, and provides tamper-proof cybersecurity by eliminating central points of failure. This graphic breaks down the transitions landscape. Looking at weaknesses, we see high technical complexity and absent standardized protocols preventing network communication. Severe external threats also remain. The legal status of smart contracts is uncertain, as governments struggle to adapt century-old utility laws. The cryptographic technology and hardware are largely operational today, but until our legal frameworks and industry standards mature to support them, we cannot safely abandon the legacy grid. For over a century, electricity has been managed by centralized, top-down operators. Power flowed in one direction, and a handful of institutions held total control over pricing and distribution. Blockchain and smart contracts provide the foundational operating system required to coordinate millions of independent solar roofs, wind turbines, and batteries. By automating trust and verifying peer-to-peer exchange in real time, this technology allows individuals to directly trade value without an intermediary. It is the architectural shift required to dismantle localized energy monopolies and build a functioning energy democracy.